Colorado definitions. Individual means a natural person. Loan processor or underwriter means an individual who performs clerical or support duties at the direction of and subject to supervision by a state-licensed loan originator or a registered loan originator. Clerical or support duties includes duties performed after receipt of an application for a residential mortgage loan, including the receipt, collection, distribution, and analysis of information commonly used for the processing or underwriting of a residential mortgage loan, and communicating with the borrower to obtain the information necessary to process or underwrite a loan, to the extent that the communication does not include offering or negotiating loan rates or terms or counseling consumers about residential mortgage loan rates or terms. Mortgage company means a person other than an individual who, through employees or other individuals, takes residential loan applications or offers or negotiates terms of a residential mortgage loan. Mortgage lender means a lender who is in the business of making residential mortgage loans if A. The lender is the payee on the promissory note evidencing the loan, and B. The loan proceeds are obtained by the lender from its own funds or from a line of credit made available to the lender from a bank or other entity that regularly loans money to lenders for the purpose of funding mortgage loans. Mortgage loan originator means an individual who 1. Takes a residential mortgage loan application, or 2. Offers or negotiates terms of a residential mortgage loan. Mortgage loan originator does not include an individual engaged solely as a loan processor or underwriter, a person that only performs real estate brokerage or sales activities and is licensed or registered pursuant to Part 1 of this article, unless the person is compensated by a mortgage lender or a mortgage loan originator, a person solely involved in extensions of credit relating to timeshare plans, as defined in 11 U.S.C. Section 101(53)(d), an individual who is servicing a mortgage loan, or a person that only performs the services and activities of a dealer as defined in Section 24-32-3302 CRS. MLO Licensing Act definitions continued. Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System and Registry means a mortgage licensing system developed pursuant to the Federal Secure and Fair Enforcement for Mortgage Licensing Act of 2008, 12 U.S.C. Section 5101, to track the licensing and registration of mortgage loan originators, and that is established and maintained by A. The Conference of State Bank Supervisors and the American Association of Residential Mortgage Regulators or their successor entities, or B. Secretary of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Non-traditional mortgage product means a mortgage product other than a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. Originate a mortgage means to act, directly or indirectly, as a mortgage loan originator. Person means a natural person, corporation, company, limited liability company, partnership, firm, association, or other legal entity. Quasi-government agency means an agency that is either a private or public nonprofit organization that is exempt from taxation under Section 501A of the Federal Internal Revenue Code of 1986, pursuant to Section 501C of the Federal Internal Revenue Code of 1986, 26 U.S.C. Section 501A and 501C, and was created to operate in accordance with Article 4 of Title 29 CRS as a public housing authority. Real estate brokerage activity means any activity that involves offering or providing real estate brokerage services to the public, including, without limitation, A. Acting as a real estate agent or real estate broker for a buyer, seller, lessor, or lessee of real property. B. Bringing together parties interested in the sale, purchase, lease, rental, or exchange of real property. C. Negotiating. Colorado Uniform Commercial Code Definitions 4-1-201 CSR. Conspicuous means so written, displayed, or presented that a reasonable person against which it is to operate ought to have noticed it. Whether a term is conspicuous or not is a decision for the court. Conspicuous terms include the following. A. A heading in capital letters equal to or greater in size than the surrounding text, or in contrasting type, font, or color to the surrounding text of the same or lesser size. And B. Language in the body of a record or display in larger type than the surrounding text, or in contrasting type, font, or color to the surrounding text of the same size, or set off from surrounding text of the same size by symbols or other marks that call attention to the language. Consumer means an individual who enters into a transaction primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. Contract means the total legal obligation that results from the parties' agreement as determined by this title as supplemented by any other applicable laws. Compare agreement. Creditor includes a general creditor, a secured creditor, a lien creditor, and any representative of creditors, including an assignee for the benefit of creditors, a trustee in bankruptcy, a receiver in equity, and an executor or administrator of an insolvent debtor's or assigner's estate. Delivery, with respect to an electronic document of title, means voluntary transfer of control, and with respect to an instrument, a tangible document of title, or chattel paper, means voluntary transfer of possession. Genuine means free of forgery or counterfeiting. Good faith means honesty in fact and the observance of reasonable commercial standards of fair dealing. Colorado UCC definitions continued. Money means a medium of exchange currently authorized or adopted by a domestic or foreign government. The term includes a monetary unit of account established by an intergovernmental organization or by agreement between two or more countries. Purchase means taking by sale, lease, discount, negotiation, mortgage, pledge, lien, security interest, issue or reissue, gift, or any other voluntary transaction creating an interest in property. Purchaser means a person that takes by purchase. Record means information that is inscribed on a tangible medium or that is stored in an electronic or other medium and is retrievable in perceivable form. Send, in connection with a writing, record, or notice, means to A. Deposit in the mail or deliver for transmission by any other usual means of communication with postage or cost of transmission provided for and properly addressed and, in the case of an instrument, to an address specified thereon or otherwise agreed, or, if there is none, to any address reasonably under the circumstances, or B. In any other way caused to be received any record or notice within the time it would have arrived if properly sent. Signed includes any symbol executed or adopted with present intention to adopt or accept a writing. Surety includes a guarantor or other secondary obliger. Term means a portion of an agreement that relates to a particular License required 12-61-903.1 CSR. Required license. Unless licensed by the board and registered with the Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System and Registry as a state-licensed loan originator, an individual cannot originate or offer to originate a mortgage or act or offer to act as a mortgage loan originator. A licensed mortgage loan originator must apply for license renewal in accordance with the law every calendar year as determined by the board by rule. An independent contractor may not engage in residential mortgage loan origination activities as a loan processor or underwriter unless the independent contractor is a state-licensed loan originator. Exemptions to license requirement. A bank and a savings association including subsidiary and employees. An attorney who renders services in the course of practice who is licensed in Colorado and who is not primarily engaged in the business of negotiating residential mortgage loans. A person who 1. Funds a residential mortgage loan that has been originated and processed by a licensed person or by an exempt person. 2. Does not solicit borrowers in Colorado for the purpose of making residential mortgage loans. And 3. Does not participate in the negotiation of residential mortgage loans with the borrower, except for setting the terms under which a person may buy or fund a residential mortgage loan originated by a licensed or exempt person. A loan processor or underwriter who is not an independent contractor and who does not represent to the public that the individual can or will perform any activities of a mortgage loan originator. Represent to the public means communicating through advertising or other means of communicating or providing information, including the use of business cards, stationery, brochures, signs, rate lists, or other promotional items, that the individual is able to provide a particular service or activity for a consumer. Exempt from licensure. Family exemption. An individual who acts as a mortgage loan originator without compensation or gain to the mortgage loan originator in providing loan financing for not more than 3 residential mortgage loans in any 12-month period to a family member of the individual. The board shall define family member by rule. For purposes of this exemption only, compensation or gain excludes any interest paid under the loan financing provided. No more than 3 transactions in 12-month period. No compensation or gain, which excludes any interest paid under the loan. Family member transactions. Rule 1.39 provides that a family member is a person who is related by blood, marriage, civil union, or adoption. Colorado-specific licensing requirements. In addition to the requirements set forth under federal law, an applicant for licensure as a mortgage loan originator in Colorado must successfully meet all of the following requirements. Submit fingerprints for a criminal history record check to the Colorado Bureau of Investigations within 1 year immediately preceding the date of application. Register with a nationwide mortgage licensing system, meet any corresponding requirements, including authorizing the NMLS to obtain a credit report and the payment of any fees and submit fingerprints to the NMLS as required. Complete 20 hours of pre-licensing education, including 2 hours of Colorado-specific education. The 2 hours of Colorado education must have a final examination that covers all major course topics. Applicants must receive a passing score of 75% on the Colorado examination. Successfully pass the Safe Mortgage Loan Originator examination. Acquire a surety bond and errors and omissions insurance as required. Complete a mortgage loan originator application and pay the corresponding non-refundable application fee. Once an application has been received, including all of the information required by law, the application fee, and proof of a surety bond and errors and omissions insurance, the board will issue or deny a license within 60 days. 12-61-903 CRS. See also Code of Colorado Regulations, CCR, or CCR 725-3, Rule 2-1. Colorado Testing and Retesting. Successful completion of the Safe Mortgage Loan Originator examination, developed by the nationwide Mortgage Licensing System and Registry, consisting of 2 sections. These 2 sections include a national component and a uniform state test component. An individual must pass the test in accordance with policies and procedures developed and administered by the nationwide Mortgage Licensing System and Registry, and in compliance with the Safe Mortgage Licensing Act. Retesting. An individual may retake a test 3 consecutive times, with each consecutive taking occurring at least 30 days after the preceding test. After failing 3 consecutive tests, an individual shall wait at least 6 months before taking the test again. Individuals who fail to maintain a valid license for a period of 5 years or longer shall retake the test prior to reapplication, not taking into account any time during which such individual was licensed. Surety bond requirement. Applicants must post a surety bond in order to meet the licensing requirements in Colorado. A surety bond is a promise by one party to fulfill the obligations of the second party if the second party fails to fulfill its promises. To obtain a surety bond, the applicant must contact an agent of a surety bond company or an independent insurance agent experienced in surety bonds. The applicant must then pay a fee for the surety bond, in an amount determined based on the bond company's evaluation of the applicant's creditworthiness, the dollar amount of the bond, and the conditions imposed on it for paying claims. As part of the surety bond arrangement, the applicant will be required to indemnify the surety bond company. Thus, the applicant will have to promise to reimburse the company for any money the bond issuer pays on any surety bond claim. Colorado requires that all surety bonds are exclusive to covering acts under the originator licensing laws, are limited to acts within the director's jurisdiction, and are identical to the bond form developed by the director, 12-61-907 CRS.
Colorado Mortgage Loan Originator Licensing and Mortgage Company Registration Act, found in Colorado Revised Statutes, Title 12, Article 61, Part 9. New Colorado Regulations. Pre-licensure education expiration policy. The 20 hours of pre-licensing education must be satisfactorily completed within the 3-year period immediately preceding the date of application for licensure. The reason for the rule? NMLS national uniformity and to ensure material is up to date and relevant at the time of application. Renewal, reinstatement, inactivation, suspension, surrender, or revocation of a license or registration. Reapplication of a license. Under Rule 4.3a, individuals who fail to maintain an active, valid license for at least 3 years must satisfactorily complete the 20 hours of pre-licensing education within the 3-year period immediately preceding the date of application for licensure. Rule 4.3b. Individuals who fail to maintain a valid licensure for a period of up to 5 years after the date of license expiration and were compliant with the annual continuing education requirements at the time of license expiration must complete the following. 1. Comply with the requirements set forth in Section A. 2. Register with the nationwide mortgage licensing system and registry, including completion of the correct registration application, authorization for the registry to pull a credit report, and payment of any fees associated with the registration. 3. Submit fingerprints to the nationwide mortgage licensing system and registry. 4. Obtain a compliant surety bond in accordance with Section 12-61907. and Board Rule 2.19. 5. Obtain compliant errors and omissions insurance in accordance with Section 1261-903.5 and Board Rule 2.23. 6. Complete the Colorado Division of Real Estate specific application and pay the application fee. Now on to license maintenance. Continuing Education Rules 3.2 and the continuing education requirements for licensed individuals begin after initial license issuance. Individuals must complete at least 8 hours of continuing education courses, which must include 1 hour of Colorado specific education, reviewed and approved, of course, by the NMLS and registry or by a company contract contracted to review and approve continuing education courses on behalf of the NMLS. The Colorado Specific Education may replace what was a required general elective within the 8-hour continuing education course, or may be completed as a standalone additional course. The continuing education requirements must be completed each calendar year and prior to license and registration renewals or reinstatements. Completion of the 20 hours pre-licensing education approved by the NMLS in the same year in which the license was approved satisfies the continuing education requirements in that calendar year. Licensure renewal summarized under 1261.910.3 and Rule 4.1, an applicant for license renewal must submit to the board the following: A. Disclosure of all administrative discipline taken against the applicant, and B. The renewal fee, and B. The renewal fee established by the board. Individuals who do not have an active license are prohibited from practicing as a mortgage loan originator and are prohibited from engaging in any mortgage-related activities which require licensure. There are 2 existing databases that licensees independently renew their license through annually and include: 1. The Division of Real Estate database located at www.dora.state.co.us/real-estate/index.htm. And then, of course, at the NMLS website at stateregulatoryregistry.org. For both databases, the license renewal period begins November 1st of each calendar year and ends December 31st. Individuals who renew their license shall only do so if they are compliant with all provisions of the Mortgage Loan Originator Licensing Act and all director rules. All licenses expire at 12 midnight on December 31st of each calendar year if the licensee has not properly renewed their license. If a license has expired, individuals may choose to reinstate their mortgage loan originator license. The reinstatement period for both databases begins January 1st and ends on the last day of February. Individuals who reinstate their license shall only do so if they are compliant with all provisions of the Mortgage Loan Originator Licensing Act and all director rules. Active license required. Rule 4.4. Individuals who do not have an active license are prohibited from practicing as a mortgage loan originator. Additionally, individuals who do not have an active license are prohibited from engaging in any mortgage-related activities which require licensure.